Praise Jesus, brethren. Just as I had mentioned yesterday, today we are going to share about sin. We are exposing sin. We want to know what is sin, what are the kinds of sin or the sin that the Bible talks about, so that whenever we do these things, we are able to identify, we are able to know that we are doing wrong, we are not pleasing God. And I'll start by reading a passage on how God is not pleased whenever we sin. That is, sin is a form of godlessness. Where we are not doing what God has instructed us to do while we are in this world. So today we are going to examine or go into detail about some of the sin that the Bible is exposing, and this will help us to live an upright life after this conversation. So we are going to start our reading in the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 18 up to 32 there. So it's talking about God's wrath against the sinful humanity. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of people who suppress the truth by their wickedness. Yeah, if you are suppressing the truth, you know this thing is not correct. You are doing something that you know it is not correct. Then you know the wrath of God is upon you because you are suppressing the truth. You should be able to tell the truth always. Since what we may be known about God is plain to them, because God has made it plain to them. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, that is, His eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. Yeah, God has laid everything bare so that we will not have an excuse that we didn't know this. That's why even today we are exposing these things so that you understand and you are aware. Even for me, I personally, whenever I read about sin or I read anything concerning sin, I am able to understand or to analyze my ways so that I will be able to live a life that pleases God. For although they knew God, they neither glorified Him as God nor gave thanks to Him, but their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. Yeah, so we know God, but sometimes we don't want to acknowledge God. We don't want to praise Him. We don't want anything to do with God. So God is not happy when we are not glorifying Him in anything that we do. We need to be glorifying Him, yeah, and not have foolish thinking that God maybe is not there or is not even listening to us or is not examining our ways. Sometimes we feel that we are so we have our own powers. We can do whatever we think, and God cannot do anything to us. So that is very wrong, because God is always there to correct us. And if we don't listen to Him, He gets angry and does something. He has to correct us through punishment. So although they claim to be wise, they became fools. So sometimes it's not good to think that we are wise and yet we are fools. Yeah, so Bible is talking about these people who think that they are wise, but they are fools in their own thinking. And they exchange the glory of the immortal God for images made to look like a mortal human being and birds and animals and reptiles. So here, the word is exposing, God is exposing the idolaters. Yeah, that is the first sin that the Bible is talking about in this context, about these people who thought they are wise and they left God. They felt like they are not going to worship God anymore, like God is taking too long. And this is like for the case of those Israelites who were rescued from the hands of Pharaoh and were being God was guiding them through the wilderness to the promised land. But you see, these people were not they felt like they were wise. Yeah, when Moses went up to the mountain to talk to God, they felt like Moses is stupid, so they decided they want to make their own image or their own god. Like they wanted to go back to do what the Egyptians used to do, because they had learned from the Egyptians. They had learned idolatry and even from the Canaanites. So they decided that we are not going to wait for this God whom we cannot see. We want something we can see, we can talk to and we can touch. But this God whom Moses is talking about, we have never seen him. So they were becoming foolish because they had forgotten the signs that God had shown them. Even the 10 plagues, and even when they were crossing the Red Sea, God manifested himself. And furthermore, also God was feeding them while they were in the desert. Imagine, they were having everything. They were being provided with clothes, shoes, everything. The food they needed, they never worked. Yeah, you can even you just wake up in the morning and you find bread outside there. There are enough loaves of bread and meat, and they were not even satisfied. Still they wanted something else. You see, that is the level of foolishness that we human beings have. We cannot we cannot see the blessings that God has given us. We cannot see even the good health. Yeah, what God has given us. Sometimes you even imagine, for example, whenever you go to a nutritionist and they tell you that you need this and this and this, or sometimes when you study about nutrition, the things that our bodies need for us to be healthy, you wonder, you are like, even the food that you are eating is not even balanced diet, and yet you are living healthy. Can you ask yourself who is applying all these supplements that you need in your body so that you will be able to live healthy life? You see, it is the miracle of God that we fail to see, and we start following idolatry without acknowledging and glorifying God and thanking God even for the things that we cannot even explain. You cannot explain how you become healthy, how you can sleep and wake up and continue doing your work, continue doing whatever you want to do. But that one we forget always, and that's why we go back to idolatry. We go back to acknowledging things that are not, they don't matter to us like God. So that is one of the things. So you see, these people, they want to go worship birds, reptiles, animals. Yeah, like they represent. You see people keeping tortoises in their homes. They keep snakes. Like these snakes are their goddesses. Like they feel like when they keep these reptiles, they got some kind of power where they can even monitor other people's life. They can see the future using these reptiles. So that is a blasphemy. That is something that God hates the most. That's sin. So therefore God gave them over in the sinful desires of their hearts to sexual impurity, for the degrading of their bodies with one another. So there are people who do detestable things, including even um, participating in sexual activities just to exchange powers. They do things which are not good. That is where, when the Bible is telling us, they degrade their bodies. They even go sleeping with animals because they are being taught. There is that witch doctor somewhere telling you, if you go sleep with a goat, you will be able to achieve this and that. If you go sleep with a young person, maybe a virgin boy or a girl or a mad woman, you see such things the Bible is talking about here. Maybe you might not understand these things if you have never have that experience, if you have never listened to someone exposing about it, but the Bible is talking about it and it is there, it is happening. So this is something that God has allowed because these people feel like they are wise Yeah, these people who practice magic and sorcery, they feel like they are wise, and they want to continue to do their own things without God. They don't acknowledge God. So that is what God is always angry about. He's not happy about it. God feels like, I will go punish these people one day, and there is a time for God knows their timing. He knows when He's going to bring destruction upon them. So in verses 25, they exchanged the truth about God for a lie. Yeah, so they come telling people God is this and this, and that is a lie. Like, for example, these false prophets who use the powers of witchcraft to heal people in churches, and they come telling people that God has told me this, God said this, I can see your life, I can see this and this is not from God. This is from another power of the devil. They are using powers from the dark world in churches. So, and so this means that they are exchanging the truth of God for a lie. They are lying to people, and they are leading people astray instead of bringing people to Christ, and worshipped and served created things rather than the Creator. So they no longer worship God. These people no longer worship God. They worship created things like the snake, the tortoise, the fish, all those things that God created. These people are worshiping these things. So instead of worshiping God, the Creator. So we should always remember that God said that I am a jealous God, and you should not worship any other thing apart from me. So we should not worship even the sun, the moon. There are those who worship the sun, the moon, the stars. Like, these are the things that God Himself created. So why should we worship the created things instead of worshiping God, the Creator? Yeah, so who is forever praised. Yeah, God is forever praised, and He's the everlasting to ever. He is there. He's the everlasting to everlasting. He is there. He will be there, and He shall be there forever and ever. So because of this, God gave them over to shameful lusts. So these people have always lusts. And lust is a form of sin where you find people are they want things that are not theirs. We shall go and look for the meanings later. So even their women exchange natural sexual relations for a natural one. So here, in the same way, the men also abandoned natural relations with women and were inflamed with lust for one another. So here the Bible is talking about homosexuality. Yeah, the women are no longer using the natural means, the natural sexual relations, meaning how God designed a woman and a man to have sexual relations. That's no longer happening, and that's why we see the rise of lesbianism and homosexuality and all those sodomy. Yeah, so these things is what God has allowed to happen because of these people who think they are wise but they are foolish in their own eyes. So God is like watching over them. Yeah, they watch over people as they continue with the sin, as they lust for each other, as they undergo these lesbianism and homosexuality things. God is just watching and knows the time and the hour when He will bring destruction, because he will not allow that to take place forever. So if you are there and you are wondering why God is allowing this, why is evil rising all the time in the society? People are becoming evil day by day. They are doing things that do not please God. Just remember that God has allowed this to show them how foolish they are. Yeah, in the end, because when the time comes, even when these people will die, they will be shocked to understand that they had no power. So uh, so men committed shameful acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty for their error. So there is penalty for those men who commit shameful things. You know, the acts where they do detestable things. Yeah, when doing sex, you can imagine a sex between a man and a man. What kind of sex is that? It is detestable. We cannot even talk about it. So furthermore, just as they did not think it worthwhile to retain their knowledge of God, so God gave them over to her depraved mind, so that they do what ought not to be done. So these people, they have depraved minds. Their minds are no longer thinking of anything good. They are just thinking of evil, and they are like, it's like there is something that is fueling their energy to do evil. Like they just want to do evil. If they don't do evil, they are not sober. Like, you might even find someone, if he or she doesn't kill a person, if he doesn't kill a person in a day, they will not feel good. You can imagine what kind of person is that. He or she has a depraved mind. He cannot think of anything good. They are full of evil. They are full of envy. Yeah, they most of the time they don't want other people to succeed. They are envious. Murder. They feel like killing. So murder is another sin. Strive, they want always to cause bad things, confusion. Deceit, they are always telling lies. Malice, they are gossips, slanderers, God haters. They don't want anything to do with God. Insolent, arrogant, and boastful. Yeah, they invent ways of doing evil. Most of the time, they cannot plan anything good. They just have meetings, delegations to plan evil, how they are going to harm other people, how they are going to destroy the lives of other people, how they are going to destroy destinies. That is very sad. So they disobey their parents. They don't want to listen to their elders and their parents. They have no understanding. They don't even understand what is the consequences of their actions. They are just out there to do. When you ask someone, why were you killing? They don't have a reason. They just want to kill. Why did you abuse a young girl? They don't have a reason. Yeah, they lack understanding. They don't understand themselves. Why are you taking drugs? Why are you doing this? They don't have a reason, because they don't understand. They don't have an understanding. God has made them to remain foolish, to be fools forever, until they perish, because they hate God and they don't want to acknowledge God. So no fidelity in their marriages. They don't remain faithful. They always go out there, sleep around. No love. They have no love in their hearts. So someone who plans evil for another person has no love. You cannot say that you love that person if you are planning evil for that person. No mercy. They don't even have mercy. They cannot feel pain for others. Yeah, when others are undergoing pain and suffering, they are rejoicing, and they know that, like, they thrive, or they celebrate whenever other people are suffering, although they know God's righteous degree, that those who do such things deserve death. Yeah, God says that those people deserve death. Those people who do all these things mentioned here, the kind of sin, they not only continue to do these things, very things, but also approve of those who practice them. So they approve whenever they find someone has done these things, someone has killed a person, you see, they approve it. Yeah, they approve that it is good that you have done that. So we want to go in detail and somehow explain this. We want to explain the terms that we have read, the sins that we have listed, that are listed in that book. So we have learned about homosexuality and lesbianism, that is a natural exchange of sex. So that is sin number 1. Another sin is unrighteousness, that is moral and spiritual failure, not conforming to God's will and character. So when we are unrighteous, we don't conform to God's will. Whatever God planned for human beings, we don't conform to it, because we we want to follow our own way, so that is being unrighteous. Another sin is fornication, where you indulge in sex before marriage. Yeah, that is a form of defilation. We are defiling our bodies. You see, for homosexuality, lesbianism, and fornication and adultery, yeah, when people participate in this sin, they are defiling their bodies, because you see, um, in the end, you are doing what God did not plan. And also, you find that you get confused, because your emotions get confused. You are attaching yourself to different kind of people, and and there is an exchange that takes place there. So you find yourself, you are corrupting your body, because you are like opening a door to other things that you didn't have. For example, if you have sex with someone who is a thief, you will find yourself, you start stealing, and yet you did not have that desire to steal. You start developing weird desire that you did not have before, because you have exchanged things with other people. And it's like you are collecting things that were not meant for you. And it has been proven that even blessings, destinies can be stolen through sex. So like you find maybe a boss wants to sleep with his or her employer, and after that fires that employee, and then the employee from that time does not get feels used, and loses his or her self-esteem. So that is how the body is defiled through this sexual immorality acts or sin. So wickedness, this is disregarding justice, truth, righteousness, honor, virtue, evil, depravity, sinfulness, and criminality. So wickedness is just, you don't want to pursue justice and truth. You just feel like doing things that are not according to the stated rules and regulations. There is covetousness, that is excessive desire for wealth and possessions. Like you just want to accumulate these things. You just want to be the one who has everything. Even you don't see when others are suffering, you don't feel for them. Yeah, it's just having a desire to cause harm to someone. Like you just want to make sure to make other people live a miserable life. Yeah, like you want to be the one who has everything. Have you seen people who want like to be acknowledged? Like you cannot do anything without informing them. You need to inform them, I want to do this, I want to do this. Like you cannot, it's like if you don't get their approvals, you will not go far, you will not prosper. So that's a form of sin, that is covetousness, that the Bible despises. There is maliciousness. Yeah, planning malice, planning things that are like being intentionally harmful or spiteful, having a desire to cause harm to someone. Yeah, it's just same as covetousness. And then there is envy. That is a feeling of discontentment or resentful. Like all the time you feel resentful and you are not contented with what you have. You want to have more. If you see someone has this, someone has even something nice, you don't want them to have them. You want to be the one who has everything. You don't want any other person to have that thing that you don't have. Like you want to be the one who has everything. Yeah, even if you are driving a car and you see another person who drives a car which is maybe more expensive than yours, you want to have that car. Yeah, so I don't know, but there are those people you might find like if you have a nice cloth, they will always ask you, maybe can you give it to me? Like you feel like, can't I have this cloth for myself? Why do you want it and you have a nice one? Like such people, when they see maybe you have nice couches, They just want for themselves, like, I wish you could transfer this to my home. So such people are always, they are not all contented. They just feel bad. How did you get this thing? Like, they just don't want you to have to possess these things. They want to be the ones possessing them all the time. So they always live a resentful life due to someone else's possession or qualities, like, or lack. Like, someone has, like, people may get something and you don't get, so don't feel envious and resentful to those people, because that is sin. And then there is murder. You taking someone's life is not is sin. God does not condone that, because it is not good. You see, if you have this other sin, like envy and covetousness and malice, it leads to murder. Because, for example, for the case of Cain, he was resentful because of his brother Abel, who was prospering. He had his crops were he was not he Abel had sheep, and, like, he was tending flock and everything. His livestock produced well. He had good, like he had everything. He had good produce, unlike Cain. So Cain was envious and jealous. That's why he murdered his brother, instead of asking God to give him, to bless him, and maybe appreciating that God has blessed his brother. He wanted everything that his brother had for himself. So that led to murder. So another thing that I noticed is debate. In schools or in most places, we feel that debate is good, because it gives us an opportunity to express ourselves, and we are able to be acknowledged. But at some point it is sin, because it gives us pride. Yeah, it's like we feel proud and we want other people to listen to us in those debates. Like, there are debates that lead to fights and arguments. Like, you find that people are debating, but in the end, it arouses anger and malice. People start fighting, and which is not good. It is sin. So the debate should not be the one that will lead to things that other people feel like you are proud or demeaning them. And then there is deceit, that is action or practice of deceiving. Like, you want to con people by concealing the truth. You don't want to reveal the truth, so you are being deceitful. That is sin. There is malignity, that is like ill will, vengefulness, hatred. Like, you just don't want good things for other people. You are always vengeful and hateful. There are whispers or gossips. Yeah, all the time you want to talk around someone's back. Like, you don't want to tell that person, you don't want to report to them directly, tell them you are doing wrong. You want to gossip. And that is what most people love. We love to spread bad news, especially bad news, not good news. We don't always talk good news when we are gossiping. It is all about bad news. Yeah, bad things about other people. So it's not good. It is a sin. There is backbiters, those who they will laugh at you and smile at you. Or they come talking to you like they want to collect information from you. They are just trying to be nice to you, but they are collecting information so that they will use it against you. So this form of character, or this form of, like, it is sin. It is not good to pretend in front of other people, like you pretend you are doing good to them, and yet you have evil plans to harm them. That is sin. That God hates it, because you see, He is the one who sees what is in your heart, and no one can see your thoughts or your heartly desires, but God can see it and understands that this person is sinful, is planning evil. So we should not be doing that to people. And then haters of God, not obeying God's commands. We should always be obeying God's commands. And then despiteful, that is expressing malice or hate, wanting to annoy or upset another person. Yeah, most of the time we want to annoy other people. And then there is proud, being full of pride, expressing a high opinion of oneself, like you love yourself and alone, you don't recognize other people. We have the boasters who like bragging and boasting a lot over their own achievements. They don't want to listen to the achievements of other people. Or even these boasters, you might do something for them, but they will present it as their own. They will not recognize who did it for them, who helped them to achieve that thing they achieved. Then we have the disobedient to their parents, not listening to parents, without understanding, not knowing the full implications of the situation. So we have exposed this kind of sin, and we are going to continue talking about these things in detail. So may you have a nice time as you think about these things we are exposing, this type of sin that the Bible is talking about, and so that you will be able to watch your lines and live according to God's will and righteousness.